We're going live. Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing great. Thank you so much for taking time out to stop by tonight. As we start the conversation, I almost forgot where I was. I was going to take a bite out of my garlic bread. As we start the conversation about women, men, and money. And in the past, we've been talking about women, lives, and money. But we really can't talk about women, men, and women, lives, and money without bringing our men in. And so tonight, we have some special guests. Let me get on a Facebook so I can see people's comments. And then also, for those of you on Facebook, make sure you share. Cindy Ortegon, Flo, and Tanya, thank you guys for sharing. We appreciate you. We have some special guests. We have Thea Robinson tonight, who is a domestic violence specialist. Her work in advocating against domestic violence is internationally renowned. And then we also have Kiara Solomon, CEO of Fix Your Crown, who is an email sequence and email marketing genius. And then, of course, we have Brent Angel. No, I'm just playing. We have award-winning relationship couple, Brent and Angel Rhodes, the Rhodes Scholars, and they are the premier experts as it relates to relationships. And so why not be the premier experts as it relates to relationships and money? And I thought this is a pivotal conversation to have because I serve a lot of women. And hold on, I'm trying to get to Facebook where I can see you guys' comments. I serve a lot of women, but the bottom line is women have got to know what it is about men that makes them so successful with money. Because you can lie about a lot of stuff, but you cannot lie about the wage gap. And sometimes I think the wage gap is not even necessarily women's fault. Sometimes I think the wage gap is not men's fault. I think it's women's fault for not demanding our worth sometimes. And I want to talk about that tonight. Hey, LV. Hey, Jay. Hey, Boss Lady Hodges. Hey, Tequila, Thesha, Elizabeth, Dawn. If you guys haven't shared the video, go ahead and make sure you share the video. The numbers are climbing. And so what do you guys think about that? I just want to go ahead and open it up for the panel to start conversation about that. Don't matter whoever can figure out how to get off mute.
Coach, you're absolutely right. Self-worth plays a lot as it relates to women who are in relationships that are abusive. They have no say. So usually the man or the abuser is the one who requires that they have nothing to do with money. So women, when they come out of these relationships, they don't have the slightest idea of how to handle money because they've been in a controlled situation for so long. But again, you're absolutely right. It relates back to self-worth. And, the equating factor of now what do I do with money? How do I handle it? What does this mean for me? It goes into a lot of that. And again, women who come out of abusive relationships, it has to be learned because they were never able, while they were in a relationship, to handle or deal with money.
Thea, I'm going to challenge you on that. Because it's not just women that were abused.
Oh, absolutely.
It is a status quo in a lot of spaces that the men have handled the money for so long that whatever happens, whether it's a divorce, he gets sick, he loses his job, whatever that underlying factor is, happens. The women is now left to come toe-to-toe with the revenue.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons that I'm on a mission to teach so many women how to generate revenue with their own hands. You don't never know when you're going to have to come up with some money. And it ain't about him beating you or him leaving you. Life is life.
True.
Life is life. And I really feel a lot of women live in a bubble of not being honest about their finances. And when that bubble busts, they in trouble. What do you think about that, Kiara?
I was going to say, I think that that's 100% true, especially that women kind of have this idea that they want their man to be the person who's providing and taking care of all of the finances. And so it's not necessarily an abuse situation or a control situation, but that we relinquish control over to the man as it relates to providing for the household and taking care of everything. And so God forbid something were to happen to him. You know, I have a close friend whose father died, and when her father died, the mother had never paid any bills. So she had no idea where any of the finances stood because he died so suddenly. And I think that, you know, until we learn that as an adult, it's my responsibility to be able to care for myself. Yes, we're in a partnership, but at the end of the day, I still have to be a functioning adult who is contributing to this relationship and has input about what these finances look like. And so it's not, you know, I think sometimes we always veer to the worst case scenario, which is what if we break up or get divorced or he dies? But what if you guys are together and he loses his job? And now you're the sole provider for the household. Or are you even where you are right now, bringing everything that you could bring to the table? I talk to so many women who are so dependent on their significant other that they're not even bringing 100% of themselves to the table, and their families are suffering as a result because you are dependent on somebody who's not God.
Wow, that's deep, Kiara. Now I want to hear from Angel and Brent, because they are the married couple in the situation. And if you guys haven't shared this video, thank you, Betty Achapa, and others for sharing this video. If you haven't shared the video, please share, because this is a conversation that needs to be had as it relates to, you know, relationships. And not only that, it's just women ignoring their role in making sure the money is taken care of. What do you think about that, Brent and Angel?
Absolutely. You know, as I was listening to Kiara and Doretha talk, and even you, Coach, so many thoughts went through my mind. And I think it's not so much that women relinquish their control over finances. I think that growing up, they've never been taught that they should have a voice in this. Right.
Yeah.
Girls should be seen and not heard. And then we get into these adult relationships and we don't know how to voice our opinions. And then you get into the church and you come into a marriage where you're told the husband is the head of the home, and absolutely he is. And absolutely you should submit to your husband, but you have to learn somewhere along the line that submission doesn't mean that you no longer have a voice.
Amen.
It means that you are willing to do all that you can, like Kiara said, in all of your fierceness and all of your greatness and all of your wonder and might. You are making an intentional and a conscious decision that in all of my grandness, I'm going to submit my power up under my husband's power so that we can both propel this family to where we know God's destined us to be.
You know, when you think about being dormant as wives, you know, one thing, you know, the Bible tells us that he that does not leave an inheritance is less than an infidel. Mm-hmm. And is so much more than tangible things. It's about the knowledge, you know, what if I die tomorrow?
Right.
You know, if I have not, how do we handle this household? Mm-hmm. How do you handle this household? And if I don't leave that to her, then I will be what the Bible says. I would be less than an infidel. You know, it's not that I would demean myself by allowing her to see how we handle the household financially. It is because she is my helpmeet. Right. And when we talk about helpmeet, we have to see what is the distance between you and sanity as husbands. What is the distance between you and greatness as husbands? And when the Bible talks about help meet, it is the wife.
Right.
So when we communicate to one another about what is going on, and money is just a drop in the bucket, but we have to look at it at the whole perspective, and we should not minimize our wife just because the Bible says that she is the weaker vessel. She's the weaker vessel because we are to honor her and we are to cover her. And while she's fragile, how God has made her. You understand? Not in a demoralizing state, but we need to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And money sometimes is a taboo subject when you talk about in marriages and in different arenas. One for sure is the church, mm-hmm. and one for sure is society.
Absolutely. Society has women believing that, all I have to do is make it to the altar and then everything is going to be all right. Right. I'm going to go tiptoeing in the tulips and I can just charge, whatever. If I see it, I can spend it. But, and I tell the singles all the time, when you're talking about coming into a marriage, you got to bring something to the table, something more than lips, hips, and fingertips. What's your credit score? What you got in your bank account? What are you bringing to this table, right? Because with this team we're partnership. So it's unfair to say that I'm just going to show up and you're going to take care of me. No, kids, and then we take care of one another. It shouldn't be one-sided.
All right.
Now I'm gonna speak on the other side of that, y'all, and I'm just gonna be brutally honest as I bring the business bully Dave Anderson into this conversation. I'm just gonna be brutally honest. I feel like the way we were taught was when women didn't work. Mm-hmm. And if I ain't going to a job every day and blood, sweat, and tears, I might not have much to say. I just sit over here and shut up. But once you start putting me out that door to hit them bricks every day, I got something to say.
You should.
And you should.
I have an opinion because, you ain't hustling by yourself no more, Big Papa. We hustling together. What you think about that, Dave?
He's on mute.
I got you. Go ahead, Dave.
I got to go to Zoom school. Look at me. Listen, it's extremely important to understand that in a marriage, it's not just you. You have somebody there. And the main thing for me is, like, I'm very bold and in your face and kind of rah. My wife is not, but my wife is very strong, very opinionated, very direct. But she's not the, she's not the show. She's the back office. You see what I mean? So I may be the one who you see out here doing this, and I'm on the stage and I'm doing that. But she's making sure that I got enough books. She makes sure that I email the right people. All of those things that are extremely important to what it is that I do. That my business has grown, I would say, tenfold in the time that I've been married than it did when I was on my own, because there are certain things that are there, and we have to look at the parts of our marriages that are complementary. There's so many people out here and they're saying, "Oh, you complete me," and I'm like, "You're a complete idiot. That's not how this works. I'm not here for completion. I'm here for someone who can complement, to bring up what I have. Salt is not a meal. Salt accents what's already there. You see what I mean? So you need somebody who can, preserve you, somebody who can bring out the best in you, and someone who understands their position. And there's a position that needs to happen. And sometimes the man is the guy, is the person in the background who's being organized. It's not a trait. It just comes down to being very specific on your roles and what it is that you bring to the table. If you have not had those conversations, you're doomed to fail. Bottom line.
Even with that specificity with your roles, at some point, because again, as we talked about earlier, to me, life is life. What happens when the roles change? Because that's what happened with me and my husband. Went from being, he was the breadwinner, and over time, as I accelerated and got promoted, I became the breadwinner. And even though I still submitted to him in decisions, his anger, he was so mad that I was making money, that it was unreal. So what happens when the woman is the breadwinner in the relationship? Because there are a lot of men who they can't handle it. Then I'm just gonna be brutally honest, and I'm gonna say also men of color, and not discriminating, but I've seen so many women in different races where they are the breadwinner, and their man don't have no problem take care of them kids. Baby, you do what you gotta do. I'm gonna bring up the rear, because it doesn't make me less of a man that I'm over here handling the other part while you let them folks go pay you. So what's y'all's take on that? I mean, anybody?
Well, let me speak to that, because what happened was, people know our situation, how we, when I was incarcerated.
Mhm.
By default, I made her a single parent. So when I came home, there was ground zero. And ground zero, you have to be whole. So when you're understanding who you are, because a lot of times we let ideologies and we let society form our thinking. So this is how we get to the point, and we listen to people. We listen to people, and we observe everybody else instead of observing ourselves. It doesn't mean that I'm less of a man because my wife has more of an opportunity to be the breadwinner. That means that I have to strap up my boots and get to where I need to get to. And it's not about, it's not a comparison game when you're talking about love. So when we talk about who we are, when we say team we literally mean team we. And this is what we're showing. We're showing people that you don't have to compare each other, because it's not a competition. It's about us completing one another.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? So for not the completion that I need her, but team we. Right. We're perfect for one another. We may not be perfect in everybody else's sight, but we're perfect for one another.
Absolutely. And when I was just doing some study on relationships today, and one of the things that came up in that was this phenomena of the roles and just this thing. Right. When a man is no longer, first of all, men tend to define themselves by their salary, by what they do, right? You ask him who he is and he tells you what he does, right? So that's big to the ego of most men. And so if he's not whole in just his manhood, period, and is placed in a situation where, okay, I'm man because I'm the breadwinner, and that's how I identify myself as a man, and you take that away from me, then who am I?
Wait a minute.
That he's more times than not, he's not secure in who he is as a man, because no one's ever showed him how to be a man, especially when you're talking about our men of color.
Not only that, when you compare yourself to something or someone else or one another, you will compare for the rest of your life, because you will always find somebody who makes more than you and that is doing more than you. So if you understand of being who you are, now you can be who you are and be comfortable in your own skin.
Well, I'm going to challenge that, because even society has taught us
exactly
to relate to who we are. And I remember when I left my job, and even people who leave their jobs, whether you get fired, you choose to leave, when you no longer have that title that was given to you by corporate America, everybody feels some kind of way. So it's not just the men folk that refer to themselves in terms of what they do. Oh, and Elizabeth said, believe me, white men get insecure not being the breadwinner, men in general. So it must just be a particular type of man who is okay with saying, if the world is going to pay you, they're going to pay you. Let me sit back and let them pay you. Y'all, thank you for the hearts on Periscope. I know the conversation is amazing, but if you could let your fingers tip on that screen, that would be great. I sure appreciate y'all. And if you haven't shared the video, share the video. This is some amazing conversation. And I want you women, whether you're single or married, to hear it, because this has a lot to do with our generational wealth as women. How do we handle the money in relationships? I don't know. Kiara?
So I wanted to, I kind of wanted to ask the question then, and I guess maybe Dave or Brent can really speak to this, because it's one of the things that I see a lot happening in my generation. And I'm an older millennial, but I'm still a millennial, where it's this idea that, you know, if my wife or my girlfriend or whoever I'm with has the opportunity to generate income, then I don't have any responsibilities. And I was actually having this conversation earlier with like several separate situations where it seems that, you know, there are young men who feel like they don't have to go out into the world, especially our men, right? They don't have to go out into the world to generate income. And like I said, if my wife or my girlfriend has these opportunities to make more money, then I'm just going to stay home and I'll just be okay. And I feel like you know what I said earlier, which was, as a woman, I have to feel like I'm bringing everything that I can to this relationship, because if I'm not bringing everything that I can to this relationship, then I'm hurting our unit. But I kind of feel the same way about these young men. And I don't know, maybe you guys can speak to what's causing this attitude or, you know, this frustration amongst these young men that's making them say, hey, I'm just going to stay at home and play video games all day.
So there's two different things, Kiara, and get it right. Just stay at home and just stay at home and play video. Two different things. I know a lot of 8-figure women whose husbands stay at home. They get the kids off the bus. They the soccer dads. They keep the house right. They keep the groceries up. They do the dry cleaning. They're not just staying at home, because I'm always remiss when people say women just stay at home all day.
Right. And I 100% agree with
you. Working.
Right.
You working, and when you get off, I'm tired, you tired, because we both been over here working. I think it's a difference between role reversal and role absentia. Meaning you just sitting around the house and you're not doing nothing. So I just wanted to clarify that. Dave, Brent, y'all want to speak to that?
Absolutely. I'm going to be very, very, as Coach says, brutally honest. And most people will not like what I'm about to say. So my views are my views. They're not anybody else's. So here it goes. I don't care if you're a millennial. I don't care if you're a Gen Xer like me. I don't care if you're a baby boomer. I don't care if you're from the roaring 20s. One thing has remained the same since the beginning of time, since Genesis itself. Men do what women allow. Period. Number two, men do what gets them in the bed. To put that another way, if all women got together and said, you know what, I want a man who has a pirate kind of vibe, then all of a sudden you would see a whole bunch of brothers going to PetSmart, getting a parrot, cutting off a leg, having a peg leg, and getting an eye patch talking about shiver me timbers, because that is the truth. And sometimes we have to look at the power that women have that they do not wield correctly. And then they sit around and say, I don't know why this happened. I don't know why he's sitting around playing video games. Do you understand what would happen in my house right the hell now if the business bully just said, you know, I'm just going to sit around and play Xbox. That's just what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? I got a toddler, I got a kid getting ready to go to college. Ain't no time for me to sit around and play Xbox. My wife wouldn't allow it. And as tough and as gruff as I am, the one thing that I have other than a fear of God is a fear of disappointing my wife. She does not allow that behavior. So if you want to look at why the men in the millennial generation are doing this, it's because the women are allowing that. And guess what? When there are no standards, folks are going to come and do whatever the heck they want to do. So if you're not providing order or a standard for them to meet, or a bar that's raised high enough, then you're going to continue to get what you get. The end.
I agree 100%. Business Billy, you want to comment on that, Brent?
Yeah. You know, I cannot remiss the fact that it's a foundation. The numbers are astounding. Single parent homes. When you talk about the millennials, you're talking about single parent homes. You got babies raising babies. So you got mothers trying to raise men. So the millennials right now has been raised by single parents. So there's men, you know, and we have to take ownership of this. We need more men teaching men how to be men. Now, what happens is with the mother enables the son, because they don't want to lose them to the streets, because they don't want to lose them to other things, they nurture them literally to death.
Baby them to death.
They baby them to death. So this is what happens. This is the gap. This is the gap. Now the thing is, how can we close that gap? Do you millennial ladies who are attracted to the millennial men enable them even more? Or do you do like Dave said? Do you set a standard? And it's not about you, because see, we have it's such a thin line, because when we set standards, now the man, the boy gets offended. Now he's offensive. So now the thing is, we have to learn how to communicate. And I would be remiss if I didn't say it is a part on men that did not raise the millennial men.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And not come. Hold on, Kara. Hold on. Let me slide in there. And I'm gonna let you slide in there. So then I'm gonna go deeper, and I'm gonna point the finger at every single one of us. Because at the point, I was on my scope the other day, and I don't know if y'all saw it. And if you haven't shared this video, please share the video. At some point, we need to stop pointing fingers at what messed up. And at some point, we need to go out there and fix it. We need to go out and mentor these boys. We need to go out there and mentor these millennial girls to keep their legs closed. At some point, if we're not part of the resolution, we're still continue to be part of the problem. Hell, everybody know what the problem is. The majority of our fathers were dead or in jail or missing. Papa was a rolling stone. That song been at. That's not a new song. That's an old song. So what's going on in society is not new. Now, what is new is that our children are getting worse and worse, and these folks tired of playing with them. So he your baby, but he a menace to them streets. And he's making the rest of our children look like menaces. And so when they shoot the wrong one, we mad. But if we don't go get all our children out the street, they all look like menaces. And we know it came from slavery, Tiffany, but slavery been gone. Slavery been gone 100 years. I ain't still talking about I got bruises on my wrist because of slavery. That means whatever mental, psychological, spiritual, whatever traditional, cultural differences and difficulties. I understand, Tiffany, but I'm saying we got to fix it. Whatever is poverty, that's a mentality too. But you got to fix it. If you don't fix it, then you're going to not only doom yourself, but you're going to doom these future generations. Once we know something is right and something is wrong, to continue in that vein without an attempt to fix it is shame on us. And men can't be the only ones that fix it. They brought up a valid point, and I'm going to shut up. They brought up a valid point about women being in control. I don't know if you know it, but about 3 years ago, there was a delegation of Nigerian women who won the Nobel Peace Prize. Liberian. For those of you who don't know, Liberia is a war-torn country and had been war-torn for about 14 years. They also believe in polygamy, which a man can have multiple wives. So this polygamy-based war-torn country, the women got sick of the men's fighting. And they said, they got all together, and they said, we are all losing our husbands. And until we do something about it, we're going to continue to lose our husbands. What they chose to do was to restrict the men from sex, from anybody. You got 6 wives and ain't none of them giving you none. We're going to restrict the men from sex, from anybody, until y'all go out there and make a truce and do whatever y'all need to do to stop the warring. Guess what? The warring stopped. See, you have to realize that as women, mothers, aunts, wives, all of that, we have a power to call things to a stop. But we got to get over ourselves and get together and go out and do the work before we can call things to a stop. Yeah, I agree. I got one that's over nurtured and underdeveloped, but I did what I could because guess what? I was the only one here. And before I hand you over to them streets to develop you and nurture you, I nurture you right here. No thanks. So if that means I got to continue to nurture you here, that's what I'm going to do. Because you won't be looking for nurturing in them streets. And that was the trade-off. In a single parent home, somebody going to nurture your child. It's either going to be the pimps and the drug dealers, or it's going to be you. Make a choice. Make the right choice. So I'd rather you be spoiled and lazy than dead or in jail. And those are the choices. Those are the choices. Go ahead, Kiara, because I know you was trying to get in there.
No, I just wanted to say that I really did appreciate both of what Brent and Dave had to say. And I think that, at some point we have to, there is always this air of judging millennials. At some point we have to say, who raised us? Because I didn't raise myself. Just saying. I'm not perfect, but I was somebody's baby. And so I just appreciate both of those perspectives, because I think that, when we take ownership for what we can do in this situation, then we'll see some changes.
I'm going to go further though, and I'm going to just go out on a limb. And this is some amazing conversation. If you guys have not shared the video, please share the video. I'm going to go a little further out on a limb and say things didn't start getting broke with the millennials. Hello? We got a whole generation of men in jail. We got a whole generation of men on the road with 6 or 7 baby. That 6 or 7 baby daddy drama started way back when I was in high school. So I know I ain't no spring chicken. This ain't no new battle, baby.
And you're so right. I was just telling Brent, we're talking about the single parents that are raising the sons, but it's those same single moms that are raising those daughters to not know to have those standards that Dave was talking about, because no one ever taught her. And so like Brent said, it's our time to grab these young people and begin to mentor them and to show them what right looks like.
And when you can't grab them physically, you have to set an example.
Mm-hmm.
We have to set an example. And the finger pointing cannot be efficient if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Because like us, we have a millennial son,
mm-hmm.
and he has both parents, and we see flaws.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We see flaws. So, Kiara, you are so right. No, we can't point the finger. We have to come up with a solution. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's it. So, yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
Can I jump in for a second? You're absolutely right. Danielle, you're absolutely
right.
I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. I have 3 teens, boys, and it bothers me to hear women say, I had to be mother and father, only for this reason. A woman, I think, cannot be mother and father. She can be mother, but she can do the best that she possibly can with her sons. Just as Donnell said, that she's going to provide whatever she needs to provide. We're going to make sure that they have everything they have so that the streets won't get them. But a woman cannot raise a man. Only a man can raise a man. So for me, my quest is to make sure that I set them before godly men, because see, their father is not in the picture. And so it is my intent to make sure that they're underneath of a man that I have watched, that I have known, that is doing the right thing, that I want my sons to emulate. I mean, in the whole gamut of thing. I have one who likes to hang his pants down, but that's not acceptable. So it's important that we make sure that they get all that they can get by any means necessary so the streets won't happen. So I totally understand, totally agree with everybody else that it is really absolutely important. And as for our girls too, as well. Yeah, shut your legs, put some clothes on. I don't care how hot it is. It is not that hot that we have to see the outline of your behind and all of it. That absolutely makes no sense. But that goes back to self-worth as well. So, just instructing our children and then teaching them along the way about money, what it is that they see in the house, what it is that they see that goes on within the home is what they take, for themselves, and they grow up to be the product of what it is that they've seen for years.
I'm going to be honest with you. When I was raising Tyler, I struggled to find mentors for him. If outside of the dating arena, I didn't want to go get a man and date him and say, "Ooh, come mentor my son," but I struggled to find even programs to put him in from a mentorship perspective that weren't either so boring and straight-laced that he said, "What kind of crock is this?" That he was just gonna ignore it, or it was so religious that they was just so pious and so saintly that he was like, "What is this foolishness?" I struggled with that.
Danielle, one thing is there's a communication gap. When you talk about church, when you talk about godly men, we portray so much. We portray, but we're never transparent. This is why we fight as hard as we do to make sure that we're transparent enough to know that, listen, the pedestal is God.
Right.
The pedestal is God and Christ. Christ died for us. You understand what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean that we're Christ. We're Christ-like, but we're Christ. So we have to be able to relate so we can be relevant.
Right.
And you're saying the right things. When I first came home and I this is a little personal. When I first came home from prison, I was ridiculed. I made the mistake. Don't get me wrong. I was wrong in what I did, but I was ridiculed. And if I listened to all the rhetoric that was been spewed around me, not directly to me, then I would have been discouraged.
Right. And I'll even take it a step further, because just like Danielle said, when Brent was gone for those 4 years, I was relegated to being a single parent, and it was hard. When I, even sitting here tonight, role model was his grandfather. That's right. It. Even when I looked to my brothers, they weren't the kind of examples that I wanted my son to look up to, because I grew up seeing them as womanizers. And so, and then you look to the social organizations, but 9 times out of 10, the men are portraying an image in those positions, but right. What their character is when they walk outside of those buildings. So no, you don't feel comfortable leaving your children with them. That's in church and in society.
And then Tasha threw a rock from the Periscope audience. She said, and then you got men's in the church molesting the boys. That don't help the situation. I mean, come on now. I mean, them altar boys, come on now. It's just too prevalent. Hey, Mr. Felix, we need to get you on one night and get you in this conversation. But the bottom line is that, so me as a business coach, watch this. Let me make a circle be a square. How many of you ladies would pay for mentorship, virtual or otherwise, for your sons? Just say me. How many of you ladies, and it doesn't matter if you're married or not, because sometimes the children don't listen to the parents, period. So how many of you would pay for a mentorship? I see a bunch of me's, because y'all will look up, I'll be launching a Male Mentorship of America organization where the men could come and earn a few extra dollars, and the parents could get some mentorship. And it doesn't mean you drop them off with the mentors. It means you stay and read a book while they do. I'm talking about some supervised visitation. So JDB said very selective. Be specific with what you're talking about with being selective, because right now they don't have nothing. And so me, I'm not gonna just drop my children off anywhere anyway. Mr. Felix says he has a program for that. I'd like to know more about that, Mr. Felix. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, because you look up, I'm gonna have one too. So if I didn't know, this is another business word. If I don't know what you do, I can't promote you. If I don't know what you do, I can't promote you. So the minute I say something, if you say I have a program for that and I didn't know about that, that either means you're not deep enough in my circle, number one, or you haven't done enough to let me know what you do. I show up every day. And y'all know exactly what I do. But this is for everybody. You got to let folks know what you do if you want your business to run. Period. So I'm just saying, I need an affiliate link, Mr. Felix. I need an affiliate link. I need an affiliate link. So I want to go back to, because man, that whole millennial conversation, but we could talk about that all night. Tasha said programs for mothers and sons will be great, building healthy relationships. I get you. That's a good one. But I want to go back to the topic of women, men, and money. Women, men, and money. You, me, and he. What we gonna do, baby? You know, JDB, I'm not looking for any cookie cutter answer to these issues, but what I am looking for is answers. And I am looking for people who are like me, who are on missions to go do some stuff in the world. There's not a day that goes by that I don't sound the trumpet on my mission. And my mission is to free 10,000 plus people from their jobs. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't pound the streets, these internet streets. There's not a day that goes by that I don't write blogs, that I don't talk to people on the phone. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not active in my mission. And my mission is to activate other people with their mission and to give them the tools and the supplies and the courage and the confidence and the platform to get it done. But no, it ain't no cookie cutter answers. But if we don't answer with something, we're going to keep losing our children to these streets. We're going to keep losing our men to these prisons. And we're going to keep losing women to poverty. And so my answer tonight is to come have a discussion. So if any of you are sitting in the audience on your gifts, if you're sitting on your assets, and your assets have to do with empowering children or empowering women or helping men stay out of jail, I need you to get up tonight off your assets and go do something about what you see is going on in the world. I'm not a spectator. I'm in the arena. It's not a day that I don't go to bed with mud and dirt on my face and scratches from the fight. I am in the fight. I am in the struggle. Front row and center. So I'm asking some other people to get on this struggle bus too. And let's do what we can.
Amen.
You know, some days
it's amazing.
If I don't save but one person, you know, if Marriage of God don't save but one family, if Dave don't save but one businessman, if Kiara don't save but one business owner, if Thea don't save but one woman from a domestic violence, you know, we can't just start with racism, love. And I would love to have you on this panel one day because you got a lot to say. But you can't start with racism when we hate our damn selves. I can't start with who hate me when I hate myself. I've been treated worse in this lifetime by black women, by the woman next to me with the same struggle. I've been judged more. I've been talked about more. I've been kept down in promotions more. I've been kept down in salary more. I've been looked at and judged in a business perspective. I've been shot down more. And I just got to tell the truth about the truth. So the bottom line is I can't start with racism. I got to start with peopleism. People is out there hating people. And the bottom line is I can't start with one thing. I'm gonna start with what my thing is, and then Marriage to God gotta come do their thing, and then Kiara gotta do her thing, and Dave gotta do his thing, and Thea gotta do her thing, and everybody's got a thing. But the problem is we're not doing our thing.
That's it.
When I do our thing, and I know people hate when I tell the truth, but I gotta tell the truth.
It takes a village.
Not taking ownership of what it is. I mean, I just had a conversation today with someone who said, well, if she stays in a domestic violent relationship, then it's not domestic violence. So she's to blame for being hit. Well, the same theory and the same thought of nobody's taking responsibility of, you know what, I can get out of this. Nobody's taking responsibility of, you know what, I got out of my relationship, so let me go help another. This is how I did it, and I'm going to show you. So, yeah, like you said, Danielle, it is peopleism.
And nobody's taking responsibility for their financial situations either. No one is taking responsibility for your bank account having tumbleweeds in it. People are not taking responsibility for going to a job they hate. People are not taking responsibility for living in a house with the roof leaking if they have a house at all. People are not taking responsibility for what is wrong with them. And at the point where you start taking responsibility with what is wrong with you, then you can reach out and start to lay your gifts around the world and do some good. But you got to start with why are you sitting still. Go ahead, Kiara.
I just want to say, you know, no matter what we may think the issue is, the underlying issue is, at the end of the day, the Bible says that money answers all things. And money is in this earth, the energy that changes whatever you think the issue is. And if you don't have any money to throw at racism or whatever else you may think the issue is, then it's not going to matter. You're just somebody on Periscope or somebody on Facebook that's angry, that's talking about something. And today, everybody has a platform and a soapbox, but unfortunately, not very many people have the money and the influence to make the change. And so if we're going to have a serious conversation about money and women and lies, then let's talk about the lie that you can come on a social media network and complain and write, you know, rants that are 50 pages long and tell people how terrible life is, but you don't have anything to throw at their problem. If I want to make change in my community, then I go throw some money at it. Right? Because if you're saying that these young men need mentoring programs, then you got to be able to put some money to a space where you won't have a mentoring program at. If you're saying that, you know, you feel that whatever, because there's a lot of commentary that's going on Periscope. And so I want to make sure we address this, that at the end of the day, you have to have money to address whatever it is. If you want to go do a march right now, whatever city you live in for Black Lives Matter, guess what? They're going to ask you for money for a permit to block those streets off. They're not blocking them streets off for free.
And when we think about money, you know, there's, I was talking earlier to Angel about Dateline. They did a story on our city, and one thing that when they did the story on our city, they got the kids off of the street that have been making $2,000 to $3,000 sometimes a day, and 4 or 5 of those kids I coached when they were little kids. Okay, so what happened was they put them in a temporary job. So you're taking them from one extreme to the next extreme, something that they were trying to escape. This is why they're going out to make the $2,000 to $3,000 a day. Okay, so now the mindset. So you put them in a bottom dweller. We put them in the bottom dweller right now. So you put them in the bottom dweller, and you talk to them, and you say, okay, you strive to be like that. So you got them working with coworkers that don't even have the mindset saying, I can't stand this job. So why would you put them in the same situation that they were trying to escape from? See, now we allow them. We don't talk these things about, you know, you can do this, you can do that. You know, we put them in that situation and job. And that's it. They need to learn how to make their own jobs. So now why don't you put them in direct contact with CEOs saying this guy has a mind like you have. So just because we are channeling it in the wrong arena does not mean that they don't have the mind to be just as productive as the CEO has.
And so Brent, that's why I'm one of those people that I don't talk about it. I be about it. I got a summerpreneur program starting for teenage and tween entrepreneurs. And I'm not going to teach them how to cut grass for extra money. I'm going to teach them how to own the landscaping company. I'm not going to teach them how to wash cars for money. I'm going to teach them how to start a car wash franchise. I'm going to show them how you flip these dollars in business the same way you flip them dollars in them streets. It is the same exact rhythm, the same hustle, the same method, the same math. And you can say you ain't good at math and this and that, but when I start flipping them numbers on that paper, it's going to look the same as a brick. And so if you don't teach them that, you're going to let them dope dealers keep teaching them their version of business. Let me teach them my version of business. So no, I'm one of those ones that you're not going to see a whole lot of commentary for me. You're not going to see a whole lot of conjecture. When I say, let's talk about it, I'm already down the street doing something about it. For you women who want to be involved, I have a documentary that's coming, 4 years coming. I'm getting that documentary out this year. It's called Women, Lies, and Money. If you want to be part of the documentary, go to bit.ly/lies movie. If women don't start telling themselves the truth about money, like quit waiting on your husband to make it, quit waiting on him to pay the bills, quit waiting on the Lord to come back for you to have what you need. Take what he put in your two hands and go out there and generate revenue. Until we start doing that and take our financial success and responsibility in our hands, women are going to continue to lead the genders as it relates to poverty. And it's ridiculous because we're the caregivers. We taking care of our parents, we taking care of our children, and we're the gender in absolute poverty. The majority of the world living on less than $1 a day. And you think that ain't you because you got a Fendi purse, you lying to yourself. And you think that ain't you because you got a car, you lying to yourself. The majority of Americans couldn't last a week without a paycheck. 1 week. Don't have $400 for an emergency. So you can front and lie and play whatever games you want to play on social media that you balling. I know the truth, baby. Gallup know the truth, baby. Gallup know the truth.
You know, just like you said, what is that you have in your hand? You know, that's the same thing. If we want to get biblical, when Moses was complaining to God about what he's going to do with Pharaoh. I don't know, what am I going to do? He said, Moses, what is that you have in your hand?
Use what you got.
Use what you got. And what you got is more than enough.
Right.
But we have to use it. Just like you say, Danielle, you know, being, you know, bootstrap. Being there. Go ahead.
And not just being willing or to use what you got, recognizing when you don't know how to use what you got and be willing to invest.
That's it.
Whoa, wait a minute.
That's
it up. Say it again. Time out. Time out, Dave. What did you say, Dave? Time out.
That's it.
Understanding when what you have in your hand takes some conversion.
That's
let's
it.
Let's talk about money. In order for you to convert euros to dollars, it costs you money. Anytime you go to convert something into something else, it costs you money. It's sometimes in order for you to convert your skills and your gifts and your talents into a viable business, it costs you money. Stop being the ones who are turning down the conversion opportunities because you worried about this, that, and the other. It's not a day to go by that I don't offer people the opportunity to convert their jobs into being a CEO. What I wrote this morning, when I woke up this morning, I said, man, it's Monday. Man, it's May 1st. I ain't got my marketing plan together. I ain't got my doggone profit plan together. I got a headache. I'm ready to go lay back down. I thought to myself, I said, man, what did I get myself into? And then the Lord tapped me on my shoulder and said, fool, you is free to do whatever you want to do. Go back to bed till later if you want to. Put your marketing plan out tomorrow if you want to. Do whatever you want to do. You is free. And that's when I reminded myself, it's not what I got myself out of. It's what I got myself into. And I got myself into freedom. Because guess what? Monday is Monday. Whether you slave for somebody else or whether you work for yourself, I would have still got up. But the difference is, this morning I would have had to put my clothes on. This morning I'd have had to get out there in traffic. This morning I'd have had to show up at the office. Man, I went back to bed. Y'all saw me by 11 o'clock. Because I'm free. And every day you have the opportunity to convert your freedom from your job. You ain't got to be at that job. You don't. But guess what frees you? Money. So let's go back to talking about these lies women tell about money. What are some lies y'all hear women tell about money, Brent?
Whew, I can't afford the coaching. We afford what we want to afford, right? If I was saying, come on, let's go for a weekend getaway, we could afford it. We'd make a way.
Can you lower it down?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you know, and the thing is, you are minimizing yourself when you ask somebody to give you a discount for something you so desperately need.
And you come in saying, I need it. You know you need help.
Can you lower it down? What's that dance where you try to get under the stick?
Limbo.
Yeah, can you limbo it for me?
Can you do a
How
limbo?
low can you go, boom, boom?
No.
Take it down low, boom, boom. All the way to the floor, boom, boom. Top, like never ever stop. 2 times. Next step now, y'all. Try again. Try again.
Oh God.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They be doing that limbo, baby. They be doing that cubic shuffle on you with them prices. And to go to the Gucci store, or go to the Louis store and pay whatever price them folks ask.
Exactly.
And they will invest on dumb. They will invest on things that won't bring them back a return.
No,
it will only go through their body and go back out. They will invest on portrayal, portray the things to the people who's going to talk about them anyway.
Oh, that be the ones right there. Come on, Dave. What you finna say? Now you off mute. We still can't hear you. What? We can't hear you.
Seriously?
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
What about now?
There
Here
you
we
go.
go.
I was
All
gonna say my lips reading skills is trash.
Lord, let this microphone be great because I'm about to unleash. Number one, I don't see nobody on this panel with capes. Okay, I'm sick of folks waiting for the hero to come from down on high. It's not going to happen. That's one. So you got to stop looking for this magical hero. I am Mr. Incredible. That's why I'm wearing a red shirt with a black collar because I ain't wearing no capes. You want to get saved, you want to get this work. So then on top of that, you have to look at what's really happening. When you watch politically what these candidates are saying, what do they always say? I'm going to come to the hood, Negroes, and I'm going to bring you some good jobs. No. Okay, stop looking for a job. That is the problem. When I go into a situation like I'm about to do this program with a Minneapolis school district where I've developed an entire curriculum based on the fact that, you know, I know how to make viral videos. I know how to run a business for myself, and I can teach teenage boys how to do that because the black kids in Minneapolis are being left to the wayside. Ain't no more princes coming out of Minneapolis because they cut the music programs. But if you show them how to make money by using their own 2 hands and doing things that they're already doing, they're already on social media. They're already live streaming. They're already Snapchat. They're already using filters and everything else. But if I can focus that energy into something that makes sense, then they become heroes to themselves. But you can't take somebody out of a situation where they're balling out of control and people are showing them financial results and freedom, and then put them in a situation where they're flipping burgers and dropping fish patties. You got to be high out your mind. But that's what happens when you allow somebody else to come into your neighborhood and handle your business. When you allow somebody else to dictate what your value is, and then they put it on your children, and you so grateful because now your children get to go to job camp. No, I'm sorry. Do you want fries with that? Will never come out of the mouths of my two daughters. Not at all. Neither will supersize me. Neither will what size shoe can I get for you. My children ain't going to be Al Bundy. It's not going to happen. But you allow it to happen because you think that that's all you're worth, because somebody has done the hoodwink bamboozle on you and made you believe that you're less than what you are. I'm so sorry if this is hurting your piddling ass feelings. I am pissed off dealing with people talking about, oh, well, you know, it's a good thing that they come into the. No, it's not. Okay, that whole Calvin myth. When I was a kid, and I came up in the 80s and 90s, you remember Calvin? Calvin came home every damn day from McDonald's smelling like Big Macs and French fries. No, I'm so sorry. Nobody ever talks about the fact that Calvin never bothered to own the franchise or what it takes to own a McDonald's franchise, because you have to have enough money to not only buy one franchise, but if you wanted to buy another one the same day, that way that they make sure that you're liquid. There's a whole lot that goes into that we're not taught. I ain't got nothing against the fast food industry if I'm owning the McDonald's, but we don't have those type of, as Coach says, conversations. And that's the problem. I am a comma chameleon, like Boy George. Boom.
I'm a comedian. We come and go. I'm like Rick Ross. We got to buy back the block, and that's the problem. I'm gonna go back to what Kiara said. We don't have the money, and if you haven't shared this video, you're just joining us. Make sure you share the video. We don't have the money to buy back the block because we too busy buying them all. We don't have the money to buy back the block because we're too busy buying the Jordans. And we don't have the money to buy back the block because the bottom line is that we choose to go to a job instead of taking our skills. This is where I sit right now. No one can complain that my money is because of my skin color. From where I sit right now, no one can complain that your money is because of your skin color. Your money is because of your upbringing. Your money is because of anything other than the fact that you won't take your gifts and skills and use them. You sitting up talking about stuff like, I'm scared to go live. Really? The way they beat Harriet Tubman all upside her head so bad that she was having blackouts, but you afraid to go live. You talking about stuff like, people might talk about me because I post on social media too much. Really? Really? The way Martin Luther King had to been knocking on doors to get all them folks to show up. And so sometimes I think we forget our lineage, we forget our history, and we don't realize, and I'm not even talking about just Black, I'm talking about historically and culturally. We forget that Napoleon Bonaparte was born poor and short and almost flunked out of military academy. We forget that Democles stuttered so bad, they tried to put him out of speaking in the arena. Man, folks started with humble beginnings, bro. Lincoln was walking and borrowing books and having to walk miles and take them back. And you won't even go to the library and get a book and read it. People tell me I can't stand reading and I can't stand, bro. And you know what they say about people in history? Those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it. We're gonna keep doing the same things over and over. And when I say we, I mean poor people. I mean poor people, until we figure out that it's a whole slew of people out there that just know that if you push on the door will open. But we've been told so many lies about pushing on the door that we've stopped pushing on the door. Yeah. Yep, that's it. Purpose for destiny. My people perish for lack of knowledge. But the word told us so. So, guys, again, for those of you women, I'm doing a documentary called Women, Lies, and Money. And I'm going to get that my goal is to get it out by December. If you're interested in being a part, it's not only going to be a movie documentary of about 30 women telling their story about their struggles with money, but it's also going to be a best-selling book project. But it's, yeah, she used to have blackouts. Harriet Tubman used to have blackouts because they beat up out her head so many times, but they didn't keep up from running back saving folks. Shit, if that was me, I'd go lay down somewhere. Y'all be on your own. I'd be like, my head hurt. My head hurt. Any questions in the audience?
Yeah, I was looking to see if they had any questions too, because we're on Periscope as well. Let me get on
bit.ly/lies movie. Yeah, you gotta know your history, baby. And if she can push through all of that, man, you better grab you some stand back, some BC powders. And man, you ain't doing nothing. Man, your man probably hit you in the head while you sleep at night, but you ain't went through nothing like that. Cause I know I'll be over here fighting with Troy. He sleeps so wild. Shoot, he kicked me in the back the other night, then wonder why I disappeared to their couch. Talking about his feet was cold. I ain't got nobody asking no questions. They in the bed watching us like we TV.
But you know what, Coach, real quick, man, I want to talk about the fact that sometimes we got to take it further than slavery, because a lot of times, especially in America, we have this thing where we just start our whole story of slavery. We don't talk about Mansa Musa. We don't talk about, we don't talk about Egypt. We don't talk about, the Ivory Coast. We don't talk about things that happened. There's a book called Before They Came Before Columbus and Before the Mayflower. Like, we come from a very large and robust history of people that have revolutionized the world. It was Black people who got Europeans out of the Dark Ages and got them to stop sleeping with animals and built stables and things like that. Like, we have to look at our entire history, and we don't teach our kids that. And then we wonder why our kids look at themselves in a diminished capacity. But what do they see? They see Stevie J with so many baby mamas, people done lost track. They see people acting a fool. Sisters see other sisters who are supposed to be educated and popular and well-to-do throwing drinks at each other on television, and then you wonder why the behavior continues. We have to paint the whole story, and we also have to paint a new story and create and be the heroes that we want our children to emulate. If we don't do that, and we don't monitor and take control of their eyes and their ears, then you can't be surprised when the nonsense comes spilling out of their mouths. So let's have a real conversation about getting this money, about reframing the narrative, and about making sure that we have positive, real examples, not some square cornball Poindexter examples that don't make no sense. You know what I mean? That
went from reframing the narrative to square Poindexter.
And it works.
I love your speech diversity, Mr. Dave. It is just so amazing. But I agree with you. But let me tell you, one of my deep-rooted reasons for doing this documentary and doing this movie, Women, Lies, and Money, is because until you take over the stories that are being told, you are authorizing people to tell your story for you. If we stop watching Stevie J and all them baby mamas, if we stop watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, see, that's us watching that foolishness. And if we get behind the camera, I want to tell a real story of real women who are really working hard, who are really doing the best that they know how to do, and how they're still struggling in this day and age. I don't want to tell a story of some self-centered basketball wives that ain't got nothing to do but collect a check for staging all of those fights. That stuff ain't even real. So if you want things to change, if you want to reframe the narrative, you better grab the damn camera. Because as long as you let not only a bunch of people that are not us, but it's a bunch of men. It ain't no women telling the story in Hollywood. And so the story of women, period, of all colors, is skewed and incorrectly portrayed. They own all the media. That's why all of the women in magazines look alike. They own all the movie production companies. They own all the news channels. It is a bunch of men determining what we see about who. So if you want them to stop putting O.J. Simpson on the Time magazine cover looking dark and the Boston shooter on the cover Time magazine looking like a schoolboy, you better buy the damn magazine station. You better buy the magazine. You better buy the news station. You better buy the production company. And until we start supporting movies made by and for the people, regardless as to what color they are. See, the truth of the matter is it's not black and white. It's green. Period. The people that have, which is why Will Smith can keep making $10 million a movie, even like it ain't no more black men out here in the world. And the people that have, and the people that don't. And when you get tired of not having, we'll get together long enough, all of us, and understand that we got to do something different. So one of my reasons for making the movie is that I want to tell a different story. I want to tell a story that other women are going to resonate with. I want to tell a story of women who don't know how to use their own two hands and how they progress beyond that. I want to tell a story that's going to be motivational and inspirational and different, but the truth. And if you don't own the production company, you're going to keep hearing them old same, Kill Bill, what's that director's name? Quentin Tarantino, Shifty, kill everybody in the movies. Everybody just dead in the movie. Just nobody. They don't know the black folks, white folks, everybody get killed. At least in the old movies, you knew the black guy was going to die first, but everybody else had a chance. Quentin Tarantino movies, everybody dies. You don't know who's going to make it to the end. So that's why, and if you guys don't know anybody who, if you're not interested in being in the documentary, what I'd like for you to do is text a girlfriend of yours that you know has a powerful story about money. The story is going to come out whether you guys participate or not. I'm going to beat my feet up till I find the right women for this story. But go to bit.ly/liesmovie, LIES movie, and complete your application. But you can't keep expecting things to change if you're not willing to be the catalyst. And that's the truth. Ruth. Show my camera off. My cheesesteak.
Oh, Lord.
Danielle, you're absolutely right. Just recently, I just read where Planned Parenthood was attacked as far as the money. There's no funding going there.
Oh yeah, he
The
cut
very-
it out.
Yes, now,
At the rip.
yes, now, the very next in line is violence against women. That funding is going to be cut. So places like WAR, Women Against Abuse, and all of these big places around the country, their funding is going to stop. So the lawyers, the shelters, all of that. So women, you can't complain because just like they said, we wait around for the government to do it. We're going to depend on them to do it. Well, guess what? So now things have to be going into place. Businesses are going to have to get together. Women are going to have to do something if you want to continue to help women who have been violated against, and they need to have shelters and all the resources that they need. Well, guess what? You got to get out there and use your hands. We're going to have to get out there and do something. We obviously can't depend on the government. Yeah, but the very next in line, he's working on it as we speak, is violence against women funding across the board is going to be deleted.
And that's the case. Somebody asked me, was that the right link to? I don't know. Let me check. And that's my case for teaching y'all every day how not to only have abundance, but abundance unlimited. Because I don't have a problem. I was talking to Cynthia Patterson. If you don't know who she is the CEO. Yeah, that's the right link, bit.ly/lives money. She's the CEO of Dove Ministries, and I've been partnering with Dove Ministries and their domestic violence and human trafficking outreach program for about 5 years now. It's one of my pet charities. And I said, Cint, girl, if I stay on this real estate hustle, I'm gonna have your house this year. Told her 5 years ago, I said, when she was talking to me about the number of beds that are available in Harris County, and as a matter of fact, in most large cities, the number of emergency beds for women, whether it's in domestic violence or your house burned down or whatever homeless situation, are slim and none. And for all the women on this scope tonight, you never know when you're going to need one of those beds. Because I remember one of my partners, Lisa Miller Baldwin out of Oklahoma City, she passed away, rest in peace, Lisa, but she used to run a domestic violence shelter, an emergency shelter, and a food pantry, and a closet. So much so that when she passed away, I said, I don't know what the city of Oklahoma is going to do, because she's been keeping so many resources out of their face and off them streets that it doesn't make any sense. But I told Cynthia, I said, when I told her 5 years ago, I remember where I was. Tell you, Kiara, I was riding on Eldridge Parkway on my way to work. And on Eldridge Parkway, there's like this park and there's like a reservoir. And I remember looking at the reservoir and I said, Cynthia, one day I'm going to be able to buy real estate. And when I buy real estate, you get my first house. You don't have to worry about crying that you don't have anywhere to put these women out. And so I talked to her the other day. And I said, girl, I'm getting closer. I got the knowledge. I'm getting the money together. And we're going to have some space. The bottom line is that you can't make change talking about it. It's okay to vocalize it. It's okay to write it down, put it on your to-do list. But at some point, you got to get out there and go make it happen. And just like I'm telling you guys this, 4 years ago, I sat in my office. I looked up the criteria for being entered into the Cannes Film Festival. I looked up the criteria of being entered into the Sundance Music Festival. Look, Deisha said there's only 350 beds in Houston for domestic violence survivors. Bro, I can buy an apartment building that big. You heard me? That's ridiculous. I looked up the criteria for entering into the Sundance Music Festival. And I said, when I write this documentary about these women, and when these women tell their story, the world is going to have to sit up and take notice. You've got to stop playing small with what God gave you. I don't care what it is. And if he gives you the vision, even if you don't see a provision in sight, eventually he'll give you the provision. Anything you guys want to say in closing? Because I got to be up at 5 in the morning for the Bible study. Thank you, Dave. Amazing as always. Thank you, Marriage of God. Amazingly informative. Thank you, Thea. I love you. Kiara, because we be sleepy for hanging with me late. Look here, y'all. Thank you, fam. Thank you for listening to my rants. I'm so passionate about each and every one of you, your success. I'm so passionate about the world and making change in it. And I'm just looking for the people who are as passionate as I am and that are just sick of seeing stuff running them up. I'm looking for the people who are ready to stand up and tell their story and force the world to reckon with, how they've done us wrong, whether it be the injustices for women and the injustices for people that are poor and can't take care of themselves. I'm just ready for stuff to change, and I'm ready to be around people who are not sleepwalking into thinking things are okay. That baby they shot yesterday in Dallas, Texas, it's one of the reasons that I do what I do. We got to get our babies safe, y'all. And I'm telling you, the bottom line, they said they couldn't even. They said them babies that baby didn't even do nothing. First, they tried to say they reversed toward them aggressively. Then they said they said that they can tell from now that looked like their shooting was in their core values. 15 years old, wasn't doing nothing wrong. But we got enough of our children out there that's acting a fool that, you can't blame the police because shit, you can't tell the good ones from the bad ones. And that's just being honest. Hell, I be itchy finger too. I'm not even finna lie. We sitting here in Houston and I can't even go eat at an IHOP or Denny's because they're running up in IHOPs and Denny's at night and robbing the people in the IHOPs and the Denny's and robbing the staff, and they ain't no age. Y'all heard Angel and Brent, y'all heard about the shooting down there at 529 and Highway 6 at the Jack in the Box. Oh, them babies went to South Falls. Been jacking all over. Do you know, baby, let's just be honest. Let me tell y'all something. It ain't a house in South Falls less than $250,000. South Falls is full of Range Rovers and the new Suburbans. So tell me why was them children jacking fast food restaurants? Because that's their idea of the Wild Wild West. They didn't do it because they needed shoes or lunch money or because they was tired of eating ramen noodles at home. They did this shit to show out. So they got caught in the last Jack in the Box and they unloaded on them. So they shot over 45, 50 times. One of them had to get life flighted. I think he died. But they run around, man, they robbing folks in Houston at the speed of life. So you may say Black Lives Matter, this, that, and the other, but at the same time, don't be the same ones that put a gun on you, bro, rob you, bro. They be the same one jack you for your car, bro. It ain't no lines, it ain't no Black Lives Matter. So we got to go get all our children out the street. The ones that's acting right and the ones that ain't. And I'm just being honest. Yeah, Krista, right down there. In Copperfield, and Copperfield is like borderline the West River Oaks.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing going on in Copperfield, man, except somebody might every now and then hit the wrong brake pedal and run through a Baskin Robbins window or something like that. Mm-hmm. They probably 75 years old, hit the gas instead of the brake and run through the drop. Ain't nothing going on. Ain't nothing going on after 10:30. Everything closed. The bottom line is, I'm telling y'all, if we don't do something different, shoot, Brennan Troy gonna be over here at the house taking sniper turns on the roof because they're gonna be just breaking into your house like in Detroit. Say he had a dream like that. I told him, baby, I had a dream like that too. Wow. And you let your boy in the presidency keep doing the stuff he doing, running amok, running a doggone muck. I don't know, y'all. We got to activate.
Yeah.
Anyway, I asked y'all for y'all closing comments. Then I went on another rant. Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's passion.
That was a cheesecake kicking in. Go ahead, Brent.
That's passion. Nah, but it's true. The reason, the whole thing is where are we lacking communication with these kids? I coach these kids, and it's not just 529. It's the mindset. Like how you saying, it's not black and white. Everything is green. It's the mindset and where these kids are right now. Mm-hmm. What are they hearing? They're only hearing certain things. They're hearing what they're seeing. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So when they see these things, and when they see all the portrayal of this and the portrayal of that, then they act those things out. Let me tell you.
They're modeling the people that they see with the money.
Exactly.
Latoya, I'm a beg to differ.
And so
it is not necessarily bad parenting.
Oh no.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. It couldn't have been no children got more beatings, floggings, pushed down more steps, smoked with more belts, hit with more shoes. I've thrown box fans at mine. I mean, like literally, I swung lamps at mine, the long pole lamps. If you name it in this household,
That you know,
these children have been hit with it, and they will tell you the stories.
and the
But
truth
then they social media has given them such a look into the world that it ain't even about the kids that your kids go to school with no more. Your kids could go exactly. Your kids could go to a private school, and it doesn't matter because if they see another child do the Dr. Pepper challenge with the Mentos on social media, they want to do it too. If they see another child do the cinnamon challenge, the cracker challenge, so now we have no geographical limitation as to the bad influences. Your child's bad influence could be in Taekwondo.
you know, the truth is, I bear witness to that. My mom and dad, you know, come next month will be married 61 years. They did everything that they could, and they worked hard. They set an example for me. They even have a day named after them in the city in which I live, and I still went to prison.
I'm saying that. Look. Hey, man, it's easy to say bad parenting. We got to look at this. It's a whole shift in the whole culture. Dave, I'm gonna go and close it out. We could be here. We'll be here all night talking about these children.
Yes, indeed. You ain't lying, man. I just think at this point we need to continue the dialogue, and we also need to continue to put together some action plans to really, look at some actionable steps as to things that we can do, and we need to stop, shelving ourselves off into our own little corners and start working, wholeheartedly. My grandfather used to tell me all the time, boy, a candle don't lose nothing by lighting another one. So we have to put ourselves in a position to realize that we all have light and we all have heat, and together we can set off an inferno of change. And that's what needs to happen if we're really serious about it. Otherwise, it's all just lip service, and I'm not really interested in that.
You know me, Dave. I don't do lip service, baby.
Nope.
Listen, it's the funny thing about it. As I said the other day, I said, I was on Scope. I said, I think I'm going to do a summer camp for teens and tweens. Everybody say, do it. Man, it went 24 hours later before that link was up on my website. What? I don't do lip service. I'd rather just not say nothing. I'd rather build what I'm going to talk about, and everything else, I'm not going to say nothing. Now, it may take me a year, it may take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years for me to build it. But however long it takes me, you'll never say I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I am going to do what I said I'm going to do. 99.9% of the time, I am the father. I just be doing stuff to see Kiara laugh. Kiara, you want to close us out?
I just want to say, this is a conversation about men and women and money. And I think that it's important for each of us to examine what lies we have told ourselves about our own finances, and where we are either a problem or ignoring a problem. And that can be a problem in your personal life or in your family or in your community. But I think if all of us be honest, and I'm not just talking about us here on the panel, but everybody who's watching, there is more that we can do to be a solution to what needs to happen in your circle of influence. And so I think that that's important, that you take that away and say, what of these points that were made here tonight were applicable to me and my family and my community that I can make an impact on, and I can start to see some change.
Immediately, I agree. Thea, did you want to say something in closing, and we'll let Marriage of God close?
Piggybacking off what Kiara just said, that in your own circle, but you got to get out your comfort zone. You got to get out your comfort zone to get out, to get to where you need to go. And asking for help, it is not a downfall. It is not a problem. Raise your hand. And so just make sure that you stay connected. Stay in a community of people who are going to be able to push through what it is that you need to get pushed through. So, you got to keep connected. You got to get out your comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with asking for help.
And, going back, not only that, get out your comfort zone, don't be afraid to invest. Don't be afraid to invest, because if we invest in fear, then we will reap fear. But if we invest, with knowing that we will get a return, then you will get a return.
Right.
A lot of times we limit ourselves and we limit our thinking because we're afraid to invest.
I think it goes not just the investment piece, but also the collaboration.
Yes.
It takes a village, and so it's gonna take more than just me doing my part and you doing your part over there. How can we cross-pollinate
Exactly.
and be a solution for one another?
Right.
Yeah, I think you see an amazing example of cross-pollination here tonight. Kiara, of course, is one of my mentees, as is Thea. Dave is in my Real Streams program, and Angel and Brent, they just part of my family. And we came together under, just on this platform because people need to hear it. And we started at men and women and money, but we ended at children. And that means somehow, some way, we got to do something to help these kids.
Yep.
Anytime we start and we end on another topic, I know Dave is going to be speaking on a panel in Indianapolis, leading a panel talking about the difference between men and women in business. So that's going to be some amazing conversation. But, what was I going to say? I believe that children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's life after remind us how we used to be. Yeah, I believe the children are our future, baby. So the bottom line is that if we don't fix what's going on with our children internally, all the money in the world won't help them externally. Because they figured out that money answers everything too, but they're doing the wrong things to get it. So we've got to reverse engineer their thinking right now and teach them the right way to be able to generate revenue and unlimited revenue. See, so I'm gonna close with this right here. For every single one of you that have children, if you're showing them the picture of a struggling entrepreneur right now, you have a God-given responsibility to show them a picture of an affluent entrepreneur. Do you know what my son came and told me the other day? He was telling me about all his little partners and how much money they making and they got $5,000 days and $10,000 days. He said, but shoot, I seen my mama make that in 30 minutes. He's not impressed. He's not impressed because he's seen me do something different. And so what that means is that in his mind, if you can do it, Mom, with no college degree and it's legal, I can do it too. You've got a responsibility to lift your fear and lift your procrastination and lift all of the foolishness you got going on in your head and get to that point where to your children, you are the ultimate business role model. And that is as real as it gets. And that's when you've done what you came in this earth to do. And I'll close with that. Brent said earlier, a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. It's not just the financial. It's, are you showing them the right way to exist in this world? So we'll be back probably in a couple of nights, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Coach love you. Coach love you.